And the first thing I want to do is perhaps why not? Why not come from the Canadian side and travel down to the United States and really just see how far we come. I don't have my passport with me, I don't have a visa. I'm not American, I'm not Canadian. I'm just someone who ended up here. Hello and welcome. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of Traveling the World using Google Maps Street View imagery. Today I brought you something very tiny, literally tiny, a little strip of land that is part of the United States but appears as if it'll be better off being part of Canada. The name of this little part of the, I suppose, southern Vancouvian peninsula is Point Roberts, and it's part of the state of Washington. Now, the more frequent viewers of this channel amongst you will notice that my hair is wet yet again. That means usually we're going to be close to the sea, to the water, to the ocean, and so it is also the case today. Before we go into the map, I believe it is difficult. I believe it is necessary, maybe it is also very difficult, necessary to give you a few background information as to what Point Roberts is and why it might be interesting to a, geographical person. So basically speaking, is what's called a Pine or Panay enclave, which is a territory of one country that is entirely surrounded by another country. It is just south of Vancouver, has a population of 1,190 people, and it can only, it's part of the United States, but you have to get through Canada to get to the rest of the United States, precisely 40 kilometers or 25 miles. To show you on the map quickly, this is a map of Northern America, and Point Roberts is this chopped up south of Vancouver kind of piece of land that is, as you can see, the United States, whereas everything else above it is Canadian. So why did this come to be? Why did they not just kind of draw the border all around here so it could be Canada? Why did they have to make it a straight line? Questions, no answers. Let's get into it. In 1846, the United States and Britain, acting for Canada, I guess, on behalf of Canada, agreed to extend the 49th parallel, which is the line we have just seen, as the boundary between the two countries, not even noticing that this act would cause Point Roberts to be cut off from the rest of Canada. Poor Canadians must have felt scammed afterwards. Settlement of the village began around 1858, during the Fraser River Gold Rush, and for a time there was a substantial salmon fishing and canning industry, now much reduced. Many inhabitants are Canadian, the city of Vancouver being less than 20 miles, 30 kilometers north, and so on and so forth. Perhaps to give you a few more numbers, the total area is only about 12.65 square kilometers or 4.88 square miles. And other than the fact that it being the United States in a place where you wouldn't expect it, I honestly don't think there's anything very interesting about it. Of course, as I'm reading about some sort of like more political situation here, you could ask the questions to which state they feel closest, or like what's the kind of, are they voting Republican or Democrat? Does it do anything to the sort of political life of the inhabitants that they are so cut off from the rest of the United States? Geography, geology, Well. There are a few parks. There even are different neighborhoods. So maybe it's not that tiny after all. Yeah, I could imagine that it being so small, is just kind of a summer holiday for Americans and probably also for Canadians. And one of the key questions is, of course, how often do people cross the border? Do they go to school on one side, live on the other, vice versa? How easy is the border crossing now? United States and Canada are, of course, on friendly relations, but United States is quite known to have Canada too, to have a particularly sort of difficult border crossing. So if it was every day, maybe you'd get like a sort of, I don't know, residential card that permits you easier access. Yeah, so I would say without further ado, I wanted to show you some pictures from it, just because we will not be able to get any of these views. Here, Point Roberts, you do see it sort of kind of clearly how it goes. I would imagine that here, where let's go a bit deeper. Here, where the forest stops, is kind of the border. Like it also, what is it actually? Nah, kind of. It's not as straight as it's not following the same path. But yeah, without further talking about it, let's get right into it. And the first thing I want to do is, perhaps, why not? Why not come from the Canadian side and travel down to the United States and really just see how far we come? I don't have my passport with me, I don't have a visa. I'm not American, I'm not Canadian. I'm just someone who ended up here. So let's see how far we can make it. These are beautiful cherry blossom trees here, by the way. I kind of imagined a more sort of like Alaskan looking landscape, but in May 2023, when this imagery was taken, it must have been a really beautiful day here. But anyway, we are here for a border crossing, or for to answer the question how far we can make it towards the border without being shot at beforehand. Okay, that was a little piece of rain there, I guess, or just shade. So being on this road now, it is already pretty clear, I would say, what my intentions are. If there are any cameras already here, I can really only do a U-turn, but otherwise I'm going straight for it. And here we are at the border. Now, does this look like a border to you? Maybe it does, depending where you're from. These two people have made it across, and I will just intend to do the same. Last gas station. It's not even a gas station. Last house. In Canada, well, there's no Google Street View car crossing the border, but what we can do is make a little hop and welcome to the United States. We were just here behind this building, and I would say that was easy enough. Didn't get checked at all. So now that we are in the United States, of course, first thing you see is the United States flag, American flag. You see the time. Well, there wouldn't be any. It wouldn't be any different time zone, would it be? But yeah, now let's go and follow this road here, all the way down to. Oh, perhaps let's go to this. What the sign suggests us. No, I don't wanna. No, take me back. Because there was a sign that promised some scenic lookout Scenic Loop Gateway. And really, for this kind of activity that we are doing here, scenic things are the best. There were a few of them in the Mulholland Drive video, but the sign was really unnecessary because it was already so easy to... I mean, you would just kind of see the scenic lookout. There's no need for a sign that would tell you that. I believe it is about 3 kilometers, which I guess is a little bit over a mile, down this road until the end of Point Roberts, which mainly consists of bushes and trees. So it's not really a great video for a biologist, I suppose. But we can look at this Canada-American gas station. Oh my god, look at this house. This is just like straight out of, I don't know, Home Depot kind of shop. But anyway, in the distance you can see the sea, which oftentimes, I don't know, on these long roads seems to be almost like sort of up. But I guess roads that lead straight to the sea tend to go down so that the sea kind of looks like as if it is going up. Always very pleasant surprise. Nice. So let's just follow this, get to the sea, and then maybe have a few more looks into the border area if we can spot anything interesting. But maybe I can already tell you that I don't think there is anything interesting, but to keep the tension up, I'm gonna have a surprise for you at the end of the video. And the surprise is that there isn't anything interesting. Let me know in the comments if this was true. Alright, we have to go around this little resort where people park their boats. Which, by the way, we haven't talked about, but I would imagine that... We're gonna have a look at the map in a second, but I would imagine that having a boat here is quite common because you can just get to the main part of the United States, the Washington State, the mainland, by boat, I suppose, fairly easily. So if people do have their summer houses here, and if they can afford, well, look at these kind of houses in such kind of area, look how new everything is. There wouldn't be a single gum stepped into the tarmac here. Then they might also have boats, but I'm actually not sure how far it is. Maybe I'm talking nonsense, but it may not be that far. But yeah, by the way, this is the sea, which would be the Pacific, Atlantic, Pacific. No. Yes. Oh, I changed my mind. Yes, it would be the Pacific. And if we look, well, if we can stop our endeavor here, because my question is, if we are here at the eastern side of Point Roberts and look out, well, first of all, the sea has disappeared massively, but in the distance there's a whole lot of land, which I believe to be the mainland of the United States, but in reality it appears quite far. So let's just give it a measure, give it a good measure, measure it real well. 17 kilometers to Birch Bay, Cottonwood Beach, Bellingham, which, by the way, Point Roberts belongs to Bellingham, which is, I guess, the closest, biggest city. So 17 kilometers. And if you are here by the sea, would you be able to see the land? I guess so. It just looks as if it's a little bit closer than that, doesn't it? I know that you can look, 40, 50, 60 kilometers if the weather is well, or even further, but this just doesn't look so. Looks almost as if you could swim it, to exaggerate. But anyway, What I would like to do is kind of to travel alongside the border just to show you how the border looks like. Because for the most part, there's nothing. There's a fence. But, you know, this must be the least protected, easiest to climb border that the United States has. But I'm sure there are all some, like, you know, police sitting in the trees and some cameras all over the place. If they do fear an invasion of Canada, which might feel so betrayed that Point Roberts is not part of it. All the nice things they could have done with this land. And now the US is just, you know, becoming for the US just to put another military base there. But maybe they have already enough. So we're traveling down Roosevelt Way again towards the border crossing where, I mean, there's really only one border crossing here. Which we cannot really see from anyway. But let's go then here, continue a little bit this way. Oopsie. On this street, no, sorry. On this street. So basically that we have approached the border, went through the border and down. Now we came from the west, went to the border, crossed the border and go to the east. And that's really all that we can do here in Point Roberts. I guess if you would know someone that lives around here, you could maybe have a barbecue in the afternoon, but if you don't, what are you going to do? Admire this landfill here? Perhaps. Depends what you're into, really. We're still in the Roosevelt Way. Diane Circle. But yeah, these houses are in Canada. Or are they not? Yes, they are. I mean, the problem is that if this was just the border, the fence of a border, then you could kind of just jump it fairly easily. But by doing so here, you would just kind of jump onto someone's property, which is, I guess, the bigger problem you might have to face. But look at these beautiful houses, by the way. Aren't they stunning? I think they're very gorgeous. Gorgeous. And this is some newer house, which, you know, seems a bit unnecessary. Oop, and we jumped to the Canadian side. Yeah. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm done on my behalf here. I've introduced this little, yeah, let's say geographical treat to you. And I hope to see you for the next video. Thanks for watching and bye bye.